Okay, we're doing something very different. Different today, different in a good way. Have some folks in here, a couple of them in here now. I think Daniel from Bandits Keep. Be aware that I've never done this stream with multiple participants at once, including myself. Well, more than one. I'm going to show some people on screen. Jason doesn't want to show his webcam, which is good with us. And because I'm going to be sharing my screen, I think I'm going to try that. That work? No, this maybe will work better. And then hopefully Daniel will join us. We are going to try to kind of build a dungeon using some tools we found. It says, what could go wrong? Yes, indeed. Especially given my setup. What could go wrong? Basically everything. Before I give it to these gents to introduce themselves, we had a podcast version I should say. We recorded a podcast a little bit earlier today. Well, just about, 45 minutes ago. We went over some stuff talking about dungeons, mega dungeons, and tools. That will come out on Friday. This is kind of a sequel to that, or companion maybe is the best word, where we kind of went over some philosophical stuff in that podcast. And now we're going to, theoretically, we'll see what we can do, try to put it together into something. Not sure what. But before I get further, Jason and Carl, why don't you introduce yourselves? And then I see Daniel's here, so I will let him in.
I have entered.
You have entered. Or Daniel, you can go first since you have just entered. Introduce yourself.
I've entered.
Folks.
What am I doing?
Introducing yourself.
I am Daniel from Bandits Keep. I'm happy to be here on Hex Press. I do a regular show here once every 3 years.
Once every 3 years. Not quite that bad.
That's funny.
Happy to be here.
Great. Carl, why don't you go next?
Yep, I'm Carl Rodriguez, and I am from the Geomologist Presents. I run that podcast. And I guess I am also, biannually on HexPress. I've been here before, so this is my yearly sojourn with Todd into HexPress. So
that's true.
Go.
Or yeah, I think it was in this calendar year that you were here before, right? It wasn't that long ago.
Was it?
Yeah,
maybe it was in the spring. The year seemed much longer nowadays.
I know. Jason, you want to go ahead and give your intro?
Sure. I'm Jason. I do the Nerds RPG Variety Cast, and then I was help moderate a panel podcast called Cerebrivore that's on YouTube and in podcast form, which is what's going to come out Friday with the first part of this conversation. I'm sure Todd will provide links to everything.
Absolutely, so. I will. And if folks, if you're a regular to the channel, you may recall I posted in the community thread that I was on Cerebrivore last week, I guess. So I will be back this Friday. Okay, so what you will see, because I'm cognizant of time, so apologies to this one. I'm hurrying, but I want to get to things, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of muddling around and confusion. We have, between the four of us, we've thought of some ideas, we picked up some tools. At the tour, we kind of picked out some stuff we wanted to work with at the end of the podcast, which unfortunately you won't be able to listen to until after this. And now we want to kind of put it into practice. I imagine there'll be a lot of bouncing around. You guys, I sent you all the chat. I saw Jason got into the whiteboard. If you guys, you can click on your Discord links, you can get into the whiteboard. I picked up a semi-random Dyson Logos, one of their free maps to that we could use. I did notice one thing. I don't know if this will be super painful, but he didn't number his room, so we'll have to kind of sort through that. But what I liked about this is it's not super big. I think it's important given that we only have about an hour ish, right, to work. So I didn't want to pick something massive and then we can't really get into it, but it does have levels, so we can kind of think about. I know we talked about that in the podcast about kind of how different levels say interact with each other. So we do have, I guess if you include the upper stories, you got 5 levels to work with ultimately, and not that many rooms per level. So I thought it was manageable while giving us some stuff to play with. So I guess that's all right. So I see two of us are in here. So I guess we can start there. So I know one of the things that we talked about, mentioned briefly, I know Daniel touched upon it, was kind of this sort of why is the party here, and some notes that I had taken earlier on in the week, and I actually did prep for this, oddly enough, was in talking about kind of mega dungeons or dungeons. We were going back and forth between mega dungeon and dungeon. This is obviously not a mega dungeon, at least not by most metrics. But I talk about kind of the things about a dungeon in general. Why did it become hidden? Why was it rediscovered? kind of like what was it first? Like, why did it fall into disuse, and then kind of why is it a thing now? Which kind of gets to Daniel had mentioned on the podcast is in terms of why are the adventures kind of coming here. I'll just kind of write some stuff in here, and again, if you guys all hop in here, you can. It's I've never done this either, so the multi-person whiteboard. So this will be interesting too. I'm just going to write these out.
It's like a video game.
Yeah. It's the game within the game.
You can tell I'm not a gamer when I think this is a video game.
You just
grab a pencil.
You can get pencils for drawing. You can grab text boxes if you want to grab a box. I think we could probably make the rooms boxes, and I can organize them. Also, I'm just writing in these particular questions.
Oh, hold on. I'm looking at the arrows.
Yeah, that's the one thing I noticed. Yeah, you can get caught up following everyone's arrows.
No, not that. I mean, on the map. I'm trying to. So, is the upper right hand corner? Is that the entrance? Because
the entrance is here.
I feel like the entrance.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Right. And then you can go up the stairs to this one level here, and I'm not sure what that is. Maybe that's just like a.
It goes outside, so second entrance.
Yeah, like a balcony, like maybe.
Might have a balcony. Yeah, it's cut off there, but it seems like you go upstairs to that, and then you go downstairs.
I feel like that. Can I jump in right now? I feel like that door should be a magical portal.
Right.
And I'm just going to say that because I see that there's magical portals in this 5e Dungeon Master's Guide.
There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can just drag something here, and then we can.
It's a planar gate.
Planar gate.
That's that. Yeah, that's it.
Interesting.
Where do you think it goes to?
Well, we can roll. Does
So we're using. Oh yeah. So one thing I'll mention here is we're using. I don't have dice on me. We're using all different tools. So Daniel has 5e Dungeon Master's Guide. I guess maybe we should list out the tools that we have at our disposal. I have Basic Expert, and I also have the Dungeon Diary of Daedalus, which I covered a long time on my channel by Shield Ice Studios. What are you bringing to bear, Daniel?
Okay, so I have the 5th edition Dungeon Master's Guide. I actually opened up the Hateful Place, and because they have a lot of random tables, and I'm also using the website Dungeon, I guess that's pronounced. It's from Morkborg. It's DNGNGEN. Dungeon.
Okay. Oh, so it's not Don John. It's
no, this is something different. Yeah. So this has all kinds of cool stuff, and we can figure out what's there. But I also have Gregor's Guide to Gates, which I have no idea where it is. Let me see if I have it in a PDF. But while you're talking to other people, I'll see if I can find it. Because now that I've already gone down a way that because I've broken the stream as usual.
Yeah, I was going to say I've got planar adventures and portals open
nice.
Here in the Tome of Adventure Design by
Perfect.
Matt Finch.
Oh, nice.
cool.
There we go.
Yeah, so if you want
Matt Finch to the rescue.
Absolutely.
And I have a non D&D product, Jade Colossus, by Monty Games. It's a new Monero product, but it has a really neat tables for building your own dungeon. And I do have Tome of Adventure Design open as well. So there you go.
Awesome. And then I mentioned what I've got. Oh, Jason, what have you got?
Well, I had the Tome of Adventure Design open since Carl's using that. I guess I'll just.
No, we can both use it.
You can both have
it's
it.
It's a big book. It's 5. We can take one half of each of the book. It's 514 pages.
One of you picked the first 250 pages. The other one picked the other 250 pages. All right. So please feel free to go and edit these. So I just put in a planar gate. If someone wants to, I don't know, Daniel running off to get dice or whatever. Whoever's got the nearest kind of planar
what happened?
gate.
Oh, I think my camera.
Nothing.
Correct. All right, hold on. I'll switch to my other camera. My not as beautiful camera.
Ryan Davison says
I think Daniel's going to roll dice.
Amazing.
I'll roll some dice.
So percentile.
What do you need?
D100.
Percentile. Here we go.
Yeah, we need twice.
Go for it.
We got 53.
Okay. So this is a performing a series of acts normally with particular physical components such as flint, blade, or particular incense. That's how you would open this gate.
All right. So it's opened by some kind of performance. I'm just going to call it performance art right now.
All
right.
And then if you want to roll again, there's other aspects of the gateway we could put here.
Oh, yeah. I'll roll again. Another percentile?
Yep.
All right.
No fun allowed.
47.
The tool we're using here is called Ouija. Ouija.io.
Okay. 47, use of the gateway creates a physical effect all the way from a little alarm bell up to a massive earthquake somewhere on one of the two planes. I like the idea of it doing on the plane you're going to instead on this plane.
All right, so it creates an earthquake on
Well,
some kind of
or
physical
a-
tremor.
Yeah, some kind of physical effect from the ringing of a bell up to an earthquake.
So should we roll what, a percentile for that? Like
It doesn't
that,
have
like
a list
100
of
being an
effects
earthquake?
here.
Oh, it
yeah,
does?
why don't we do that? Yeah.
Does it say
Sounds
which
good.
plane it's attached to?
Yep.
That gives
Let
me
me
an
know you're
idea for
coming.
answering one of the questions on here. Why
Mhm.
was it rediscovered? Someone used
Oh.
this. Someone used the gate, and the earthquake, brought it to the surface.
Ooh. Okay, we're gonna roll magnitude of the earthquake, I guess, with the percentile.
Wow.
Well, all right,
No, yeah.
22. So we're like a quarter of the way up the scale. So what's a quarter of the way between ringing a bell and an earthquake?
I don't know, guys. There's a lot between
A
a bell.
church, we'll go with the church bell. How about that? A heavy bonging.
Ah, there you
like a
go.
steeple, like a.
Yeah.
All right.
And then one last D100 for what's different on this plane. We don't necessarily have to define the plane totally, but what's different?
Oh, 80.
80. So on this plane, what's different are your saving throw numbers or bonuses. So that'll be a rude awakening for the players.
Whoa.
Oh, interesting.
Hmm.
But it doesn't say exactly, so we don't know if it's. Do you want to pick a plane where it's going?
Well, I mean, that could be up to like if we're using like BX as or OSC as our rule set, it could be like if it goes to a plane opposite their alignment, so it affects their saving throws in a negative or positive, or I guess you can roll randomly positive way, right? So if they're chaotic, then it's law. If it's lawful, they're chaotic. I don't know. It doesn't say it affects their saving throws, but it doesn't say how, right?
Yeah, well, right. Yeah, that's up to you. And they don't have a list of planes. I think the idea is to let that way you could insert from your campaign. They don't want to dictate to you what planes.
So do we want to insert, or do we not want to insert, or do we want to make it that it goes to wherever that the performance artist who's using the gate can determine where it goes?
Oh, maybe it has to do with the performance that they do.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's cool.
So if you get it wrong, you're going to a different place. You're not going to go where you thought you were going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in my campaigns, I usually don't use like generic planes. I actually use the planets. Like planets are basically in place of planes. So I might go to like, Pluto or Jupiter or something.
Or you go to Mars.
I'm just putting a reminder here. So I think somewhere we should have, if it's kind of doing these sort of performance moves, kind of, I don't know, ritual dance, whatever kind of things. I think somewhere in this dungeon, there should be on the walls or maybe in multiple areas, some of these dance moves.
Yeah,
Maybe
agree.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, definitely. So sorry, or maybe statues showing or something. Yeah,
actually,
that's a good idea.
Now that's a good idea. And
like maybe like along this broken wall. So then it's purposefully vague. There's performances, whether it's oration or dance or music, but it doesn't. It's not. There's no code for it, but that's just there. Perhaps.
So you have to do something. So the way I would handle this in play is I would go to a random TikTok video and I would make the players repeat that dance.
And now we know why people don't play in Daniel's game.
Exactly. This is why my players hate me.
Right.
Yeah, but you could have like a reference to it, like since Todd, that was a great idea, and this broken wall is a great way to reference
here on the outside, or should we put it somewhere in
the dungeon or on the outside?
Well, I'm thinking in the dungeon because that's a good reason for them to
go in.
Yeah. And it gives you kind of reason. Maybe we can hint at it here. Maybe you can hint at it, but I would say because it's broken, it's all messed up. But then somewhere in one of these maybe long, nice, unbroken walls, or in multiple, and that gives us some kind of theming because we think about some different planes. Maybe on these different sub levels of the dungeon, they're kind of themed to a couple of planes, and then has the kind of instructions embedded in those. In those bas reliefs to go to the plane that is sort of the theme for that level. And we could think about we could do planets. It doesn't have to be the classic. It could be a demi plane of our own devising. I should go get my that Ravenloft Domains of Dread book. real
Oh,
quick.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. I just don't have any planes, so I wouldn't know what to, unless they're in the DMG here.
That's why I figure we could at least make them up just in broad strokes. We'd have to come back to that or something,
Right.
or we could use just your generic ones that make it easy because everyone's got their, I don't know,
Right.
hell planes. And,
Right, exactly. Like your plane of fire. You could do elemental planes.
elemental planes, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Or
so I
use elemental
guess
planes.
we're getting ahead of ourselves here, maybe a little bit. But I wonder if the final, what this used to be was either a temple, or, to some kind of planar thing, or some kind of sorcerer's tower where they unlocked, eons ago, the way to travel to planes, and of course, that had some kind of horrible disaster, horrible accident that caused this dungeon to get lost.
I think either one of those works.
Yeah, that harkens to why to become hidden. There was either a planar event or a magical event that brought down, I guess, the rocks or mountain around it to hide it. If we stick with the geological.
Oh yeah, so a ritual gone wrong buried it, and then a ritual gone right unburied it.
Yeah. Depending on who you talk to, right? I mean,
yeah, maybe it was somebody coming back. Maybe the wizard or sorcerer or whatever left, and everything had crumbled, and then he was either gone for a long time, and we could maybe even think about why they might be gone, and then maybe why they came back, and then of course that asks the question of, are they still here somewhere in this dungeon? Did something happen to them? Like, what are they up to? What are they up to now? DH, the app we're using to collaborate is called Weege.io. WEGE, .io. I should probably put this in the link. Let me write this in the link description. You guys keep talking, and of course you have access to the whiteboard, so feel free to do as you will.
Well, I wonder if are we going to do this systematically or like haphazard?
Well, I think we already started haphazard. Why would we stop now?
So I guess we should go like top down. Like what about if we're going to populate these rooms?
Sure.
Are we going to go with the conceit that 1/3 of the places are empty as well? Or we don't need to do that. We're going to fill everything.
I mean, there's not that many rooms.
Yeah.
And I think there's some of them that could be like these little. Do I have the pointer thing here? These maybe these could be empty if we wanted some empty rooms. Kind of.
All right, empty of treasure or monsters, not necessarily.
Not empty as in just nothing at all in them, but just no monsters, no.
Yeah, well, I think so. It looks like let's roll back and let's look at the entrance. I guess let's be a little systematic. I guess
the entrance I feel like is down these two doors that go into the tower.
Yeah, it looks like there's two ways in, right? One goes up, one goes down. That's what it looks like.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Well, you got So it looks like we have a ground floor with there used to be some kind of maybe courtyard around it, but it's all broken up. There's some kind of pond. We could think about if something lives in the pond.
Yeah, for sure. You need like some sort of denizen or some sort of watcher in the pond.
And then you've got two. Looks like it's got split two doors. Yeah, and one of them leads up to this tower, and then one of them leads down into the depths.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I would feel like you could have something. Well, depending on how powerful the creature is that lives here, or if you don't want it powerful, it could be like if we're doing the surface is like level 1 and we go down, is that what we're deciding to do?
I would say so. Yeah. So what is this? What are we calling level? I mean, I guess maybe this. Let me get the pointer back here, guys. I would say maybe this is level 1.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
And then the surface level, right?
And then the surface is just kind of the surface. So I guess it is kind of. I mean, the surfaces are. I think what the surface. I think for us is, it's really going to set the tone, kind of right. So what do they see? How hard it is? How hard is it for them to get through these doors, assuming they're closed? Like, what's the nature of whatever's in this?
Yeah, I like the idea of the hints on the wall there, so we know what the location is if they stumble upon it, right? Mm-hmm. We know we're here because this wall has this. And then I think something in the water could be something that came from one of the planes, which would be a further hint, right? So maybe some creature crawled out of the planar. So from the gateway, from the staircase that goes up, maybe there could be some sign. Like, let's say the creature in the water is some kind of an ooze, right? You could have the stairs like dripping in ooze and stuff. The ones over here. I don't know if you can see my hand. I don't think I'm on this. I'm not sure if this works.
Oh, you're there.
Yep, that sounds
Yeah.
good.
There we go.
Oops,
So like this,
sorry.
this here, we could have like something coming down into the like this a track, right? That
Right.
it came from here.
Yeah, and we have a ooze generator here in the tomb.
Oh,
eventually.
wow.
There you go.
So go ahead and roll your percentile dice there, Daniel.
All right.
Is there? We'll have to add a planar, some kind of planar thing to the ooze.
Yeah, 25.
25. So this is a amorphous puddle.
That's worth the whole thing.
So keep going.
Yeah.
We've got
Another one
here.
43.
43. It is immune to magical force.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, it takes half damage from a magical force.
Yeah, well, I guess depending on what rule set you use, right? It depends.
Right.
I'll just put immune right now.
Yeah.
Immune,
And then
yes.
roll another one to see what its special attack is.
92.
92. Its special attack is it hurls goblets of itself as missile weapons.
Oh, perfect.
And then we would go to
Oh wow! So like I guess you could see a scenario where the characters are exploring this, and then all of a sudden they have to, they get these goblets thing thrown at them, and either directed into the dungeon or have to retreat, right?
Yeah,
Or they could get split up. Some could end up going up or down.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
that's cool.
If you want to know what it's called, you can roll 2 percentile dice, and I'll give you the name.
Oh, yeah,
I
absolutely.
definitely want to know what it's called.
I know what it's called. Yeah.
Yeah, 35 and 14.
It's the grasping chowder. That's a
Grasping chowder.
like clam chowder.
That's so good.
All right.
I guess depending how gonzo you could be, you could have some sort of low level humanoid like kobolds or goblins worshiping it because it's chowder, right? I don't know.
That's right.
And so what
like maybe in
do
this
we want to
courtyard
associate with this one?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what flavor?
The plane.
No, what plane is it coming from?
Oh,
Clearly,
the plane of chowder.
Yeah. The plane of Boston. I don't know.
Exactly.
There we go. Roll me one more percentile die, Daniel. We'll figure the plane out.
14 again.
Oh, 14 again. So what these goblets do is this special attack.
Oh, I love it. I love that red caps. Okay.
Yeah, the special attack creates an aversion to something, often aversion to animals related to the monster or a situation involving the monster's surroundings. Giant intelligent beetle special attack might be an aversion to beetles or bugs. So if they're hit with the goblet, then they're going to have an unnatural fear of oozes, which might
or stay with me here, or food.
Yeah, pudding.
So then we find desiccated people gathered around.
Yeah,
they refuse to eat. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, no, I like that. Yeah,
I like what Red Caps threw in there too, though.
Hold on.
Kevin of the Red Caps podcast, he said the ooze gets into players' mouths and they have to turn into an ooze.
Oh,
yeah, you can do that too. Definitely. I mean, that would be why
you could even have it to be. I would even have the I like to do is if you fail by
fail by X, yeah.
Fail by X number, then so if you fail by a little bit, you have the aversion to food. If you fail by a lot, you start to turn into an ooze yourself.
I like it.
And maybe the bones are there because the basically it jellifies all your organs and stuff, and you just slough off your bones, leaving your bones wherever you were. So you can still have the bones, just all your fleshy stuff.
This is perfect for a first level party.
Well, I don't know if a planar travel adventure is what you throw to a first level party. Honestly,
it might not be what you throw to a first level.
It just came through the gate. It wasn't the travel itself. It came behind.
Yeah, if you're trying to go have them jump into like a Planescape or something like that, or DCC Purple Planet, right? It's kind of planar if you planets.
Well, I think exactly, and I think the idea is they're going to see this and they're going to run into the dungeon looking for treasure or whatever other reason they're here, right? But then they'll learn that there's a gate here they can choose to go through later. It's not like they have to go through the gate.
Right.
Yeah, it becomes a resource in the world, right? Because they may go through this, then there's this gate. Maybe we're too afraid or we're not ready for it. But then when you come back, because I think one of the things that I think I've mentioned this before is I think there's kind of a middle or this sort of area between maybe you as a GM or you as your party are interested in exploring the planes, but you haven't unlocked all the planar spells yet. And so, of course, one way is to have some patron or somebody nasty just plain shoot you to another plane yourself. But this gives you a way, if your party wants to, for them to take it upon themselves to discover it through using these portals that they've found.
Yeah.
So do we want
Are
to
we
drop
gonna have-
down to the first level? Oh, go ahead.
Are we
Carl.
going to have anything in the courtyard, or is it just going to be?
I've got some desiccated corpses that are near the.
So we don't want like a
pond.
Good low level encounter with kobolds or goblins or something similar, or
Would they survive the ooze being there?
Right.
Maybe-
I think the ooze is the encounter.
Yeah.
okay, all right.
Because it's not going to kill you unless you really save badly, I guess, right? It's just going to make you not want to eat, which is a long-term problem.
Are the desiccated bodies, the desiccated corpses, animate?
I think we just leave them as
Yeah.
corpses, right? They've
Okay.
just been oozified. It's the kind of the remains of
could
the
be-
folks who've been oozed.
You could have some of them still alive, so some of them are corpses and some of them are actually people. And then that way you can telegraph it by, you see this person that's clearly starving, so the party's gonna. I mean, people I generally play with will be like, let's give them some food or whatever, and they'll be afraid of it, right? And so you let that whole scene kind of play out a little bit. Then the pool starts bubbling up, and so it kind of builds this action at the beginning.
All right, well,
So they realize that something's going on here.
All right, so I'll put.
That's how. I mean, that's how I would
make.
handle
Anyone got
it.
a
Yeah.
good NPC name generator? And I've got one I can go to, but if someone's got one,
Sure we do.
Dinner.
There is the fantasy name generator website, right?
Yep.
Let me see.
The old go-to.
currently starving.
The Tomb Adventure design will be a lot easier to use once I have a physical copy.
We can.
So the question is, what kind of names do we want?
Well,
I
yeah,
just-
you got to pick. Yeah, pick a.
Oh, you got to pick? I don't know. Whatever.
Well, fantasy and folklore, real names, places to look at. Well, we want names,
Oh,
right? So other names.
Fantasy and
Fantasy and
folklore. I think is
folklore.
good.
Okay. So do we want alien names, Amazon names, Anasi names? I'm not going to read all of these. I'm just going to move my mouse around the screen randomly and click on something.
Go ahead. Yep.
All right. I clicked on night names,
There we go.
and I got
Oh, sorry, something.
generate. Here we go. All right. We got. It went away. How many names do we want? Just one, right? Because it's one
Yeah, just
living
one right
person.
now.
Okay, so we got. This is not a very exciting name, but James the Humble.
That's fine.
He's a knight.
We can always like write
Or
James
she.
in a weird way.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Like we
Well, we could
go,
do.
here
How
we go.
about Reynold? That's Reynoldus. That's even better. Reynoldus sounds good. Reynoldus the Humble.
Yeah, James is one of the ones that's dead, so you're not going to know his name
Reynoldus the Humble.
till you pick his wallet.
All right.
And maybe and Reynolda, and, the thing is, if they save him, which could be interesting because we haven't really thought about, we can maybe save it for later. Something else is kind of how you get, once you have this aversion to food, how long does it last? How does it undone? But he could potentially give them some information, maybe even join them as a hireling if they're able to, nurse him back to health.
Right.
So
All
is
right.
the top floor empty?
This one up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say the top floor is empty. I mean, though we could talk about, okay, so if this is where the portal is, so maybe we could think about what's environmentally is here. Is there a kind of a magic circle?
Yeah, you would have to have an area you dance inside, right? So maybe
Right.
not necessarily a pentagram on the floor, but effectively that, right? You have your meant, like you say, the circle,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe maybe you would have whatever, whether you have braziers or whether you have sconces for candle. You have something. I mean, you probably do incense or something else when you're dancing, right?
Yeah, and I would definitely have signs of the creature, the ooze up there, like dried muck or whatever. Like if you left your clam chowder out for too long, it gets like dry, like
Yummy.
Yeah, and leading down the stairs.
leading down the stairs. That way they understand that, like when they see this puddle, they know it's dangerous. They're not going to run towards the remains of the puddle if they want to run away from it. But if they want to fight it or they want more information, they'll know to go up the stairs,
Right.
All right.
which means they'll likely go down the stairs, which is where we want them to go
Yeah.
if they're low level.
Okay.
And then the entry chambers, I guess, is the next.
And Daniel, that's called what? Telegraphing.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
I say that a lot, right?
And then in the entry chambers, the one going up or the one going down. Also.
Which one? So let's see.
Well,
Let's see. By entry chamber, which one are you talking about?
I guess the bottom one looks like it goes up. Right. The
Well,
I think
I mean,
it doesn't really matter.
doesn't
Yeah, it
matter.
doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
One side goes up. One side of the mushroom makes you taller. One side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it goes like this, and then you come out here.
Okay.
That's how I perceive it, but I could be wrong about that. Oh no, actually, you're right because the way the stairs are set up, you're 100% right. It actually goes like this.
Yep.
Okay.
Now I'm drawing really fat with this thing, so I have no idea how to operate the. This is why I shouldn't be allowed access to these things.
That's right.
There we go.
You're grasping with the chowder.
They have that pointer. There's a pointer icon down there that will naturally give you kind of a
Mm-hmm.
pointer thing, so you could do that, and then it vanishes after a time. Okay.
Okay.
So now we're down to level 1.
Oh,
Right.
nice. Okay. All right.
Oh,
level
so
one.
these are everything's empty. Then we're deciding.
Well, I mean, there's
Except-
nothing. I mean, there's just a magic circle. There's signs of the ooze. Where there's incense, or it's like some kind of incense holders. That might have some incense in there.
The other thing you could do in that room is you could make there a chance that there's some other planar creature that's coming through right when the player characters come up there.
Oh, okay. So I guess the point is the portal still open? Or
Yeah,
I think
well,
it closes after it's
No,
activated, right?
You want them to do the ritual, right?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
want them to kind of interface with ritual. So I would say that nothing's coming through right now. And
Right.
then I think it's enough having the ooze come through, having con through. It's kind of neat because then you can kind of, it's a nice little, I think like Daniel mentioned before, it's a nice little kind of puzzle of like, what the heck is this thing? And then if you follow the trail, you're like, oh, and then when you put it together, you're like, oh, like, okay, like it's something kind of neat, even just kind of world building wise, like, oh, this weird thing came through, and you kind of have a story there for why that thing is in the puddle.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, so down to level 1. So we've got, how many levels down do we have? We've got 3. So maybe this one can be your more ordinary stuff, like your where the guy maybe living quarters kind of stuff here, and then we'll have 2 planes that have more of the ritual stuff down below. Is that how people feel about that?
That makes sense to me.
Yep.
Kind of like your prep area, so we can think of like living quarters. Oops,
Mhm.
Anything we
Yeah, it looks like there's
wanna...
like a water feature down the left.
Yeah, it could be that maybe there was a fountain or something there, something that's now just been ruined, and so it's just leaking out into the.
Yeah, and if we're thinking planar creatures, then your traditional like water weird or something like that
Mm-hmm.
could be.
Oh, yeah.
Do we want to make? So should we make all these? Should we have one of these be plane of water just to set that up now, and then we can?
Well, we
Yeah,
could.
I'm fine with that.
Do we,
But it just looks like the water continues onto the levels down. Right? That kind of got out of control.
Oh yeah, so maybe.
Oh, right. The ooze is pouring through, basically.
Or elementals or oozes or whatever. If we want to say ooze, if we're going to like the plane of ooze.
Yeah. Well, right, because if they line up, right? Oh, let me do this with the pointer. If these go like this, right? Does this go to here?
right. I think that's what we're thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay,
maybe
so
this
then
is
you
maybe
can
this
look
is
on
just corroding the ground and just
Mhm.
forming a hole there, like that wasn't there before, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Interesting, which does give you So, but it's just seeping. Are we gonna? So there's no hole. I mean, he hasn't drawn any holes in here, so I'm assuming it is just seepage. So we could.
Yeah, seepage. That's what I mean. Yeah.
All right, so we don't have to have wasn't that? So we can keep the plane of water if we want, or we can have another one. I'm just gonna put another thing.
But since something is coming, so we need something in these spaces, though, right? Because we have 2 rooms.
we got 2 rooms. We're thinking it's kind of living quarters at this kind of level. So
Right. So the question is, these were living quarters when this temple or this, whatever
when
it
it was inhabited.
was
Mhm.
inhabited, but it has something else taken residence here. Is there something that's semi-friendly with, maybe not friendly with the use, but not scared of the use, that's decided to take residence? Do we want some kind of,
Or something that's fled
creature?
there, right?
Yeah.
Taking refuge there.
Now here's we take refuge in tables. What do you guys? Any?
No. Or do you just make it undead things in here? Because it's what's left. It's
Ooze based undead.
Now that's not a bad idea. You've got that's.
Let me see what tables I've got in field ice. You can see.
Trying to think. What's the? There's a product where you've got basically skeletons covered with the jelly, right?
Oh, very cool.
I'm brain farting on the
Is
product.
there? I don't even know.
So
I'm trying to open back up my generator here.
Hopefully.
Now the most exciting part, we're all looking at materials, and so we have nothing.
Yeah.
to say.
So,
Right.
so jumping back to the 5e
well, I mean,
Dungeon
I could
Master's Guide, we
Go
could
for
do. There's a section here on different types of rooms, and could do Let's see.
Well, I have-
Do we want to? Is there a bedroom here? No, there's not. Of course not. There's
I do have some
chambers.
dungeon.
No, but I do
dressing
have like the
things.
chamber features table in Jade Colossus. That
Oh, there you
is
go.
all
Let's
a
try
bunch of-
that.
A bunch of really weird stuff.
Do we
But,
want to save? Do we want to make this the most normal level, and then it gets weirder as we go down? So maybe
I
save
think
the
so.
super
Just-
weird.
okay,
stuff?
maybe save
Yeah.
this for. Yeah, just do like a normal.
All right.
So-
Well, I'll roll on the dungeon chamber contents then. Let's just see what it says. We can always
go
use
for
or
it.
not use it. 23, which gives us a monster, a pet or allied creature with the ooze. That's kind of exactly what you guys were just saying. It
So that
the
should
thing.
definitely be in this.
Maybe in
here.
this.
Yeah, in that
that
room.
room.
Right.
Okay.
All right. So let's determine what it was. That room was that room. Call it like
It's probably
like
used to be a
kitchen-
fountain, but now it's
yeah. So maybe
kitchen
some
or
kind of like
fountain. Kitchen or fountain.
area.
Maybe kitchen. Kitchen sounds reasonable, right?
And you need water, right? You need water.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Since we're using it's like a food themed ooze, I guess.
Do
And then-
you guys have an ooze table in one of those, or do we want to use this one again?
Or
I
what
don't
is
have an
something
ooze table.
related
Have
to
you-
an ooze?
Well, I think in here we could have. So I have this. I just clicked on the dungeon thing to see what the imminent danger might be, and it's an expanding life form, spreads its twisted limbs throughout the
Oh,
dungeon.
you're breaking up there, Daniel. Can you?
Oh, yeah.
Now you're back.
All right,
As soon as you
so
stopped
we-
talking, you came back.
We've got expanding expanding life form spreads its twisted limbs throughout the dungeon. But it could just be in this room. So maybe you open this room and this ooze has affected something that's like it like immediately starts blowing out the door. Some kind of like roots or plants that have been contaminated by it.
Well, I
So
mean,
some kind of tree
we have the
monster?
water comes down 2 levels, so we could have or 3 levels. It goes through all the levels. We could have it be an expanding.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It would be
it's
cool to do
just on
something like a
plant-based.
blight or something, right? Like one of those weird like plant monsters.
Yeah, that's
Do we
a
have
great idea.
plant monsters?
Yep.
Design?
Nope, that's fine. So I've got a plant creature table, or if you guys have one in one of your books you want to use.
I do
No, I
not.
don't.
Go
Go
for
for it.
Okay, roll a D100.
All right.
We'll roll 2 and we'll.
All right. So 82
Okay.
and 66.
Okay, so this is a tree. Well, so 82 is tree short. Maybe that's what it began as.
Right. What's the
and
roots of the tree? maybe?
66. The plant is entirely immobile, but has a physical distance attack. The physical distance attack has a special effect,
All right.
which I would need you to. It's
Another roll for the special effect. Another
Yeah, give me
percentile?
the roots of the plant.
mhm.
So
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
8 for the special effect.
Okay.
The roots of the tree that has now been
Let's look at me there.
subsumed by the ooze.
Yep. So an 8 is exhaled cloud, gas or mist.
Oh, nice.
Mist. We'll go with mist because it's got the
Yeah,
water. Kind
yeah,
of
mist.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And then one more time, we'll see the
The
special.
So we have like writhing roots of this tree that spits out some that 78.
78. So that is a non-lethal poison causing lethargy or slowness of action.
Oh, that's
Nice.
Yeah.
This actually all kind of works together too, because right, you don't want to eat, and then you have this
Yeah.
lethargy with just laying there. So it
Yeah,
actually
and then
all
the
seems to work.
Right.
It
Do
becomes,
you want to
it's
know
like
how?
yellow
sorry.
musk creeper like, right? It like the
Mhm.
roots will like start absorbing the people who end up being lethargic and
Well, yeah. That leads into what I was about to ask, Carl. That's
Yeah.
a great insight because the very next table is unusual reproduction method for the plant. Of course, we want to know how the plant reproduces.
perfect. Yeah, yeah.
All right, percentile. 35.
35. The plant doesn't just produce seeds; it produces flying insects.
Oh,
Whether true insects or plant insects doesn't matter. The insects fly about for a while, die, fall on the ground, and germinate into new plants, which works into the whole immobile thing. That's how it would spread. So that actually, and maybe if we want to go off what Carl said, the plant for these insects to have to germinate, they would have to get in living bodies, right? So
Right.
maybe
Well,
it
it makes- the
generates
mist
these
makes
plant
you-
insects. Or go ahead.
no, go ahead. Finish your thought. No.
I was just saying maybe it generates these plant insects who then would somehow infect living creatures.
I
and
think
then when they
maybe
die-
so. I put
Hence
one
the
note
lethargy,
here.
right? Hence the lethargy.
Hence
I
The
put-
mist makes you lethargic and more prone to being bitten by these plant.
I put a
insects.
note
Well,
that the top of the tree blight comes out of the puddle up here. That way,
Yeah, makes sense.
and I think maybe the insects can come out of here. And this kind of gives you a nice adventure hook as to why do these horrible insects coming and hurting our town, whatever. You could give you kind of a reason for the adventurers to maybe pop over here to solve the insect problem.
Yeah.
And having to get down to the very roots of the tree gives them a reason to go down all
the
levels.
So if we did that, maybe the insects don't create, do seeds to create new plants. Maybe they just.
Well, I think maybe they could, and that could be kind of how the party gets you. Because you imagine out in the wilderness, if this is some miles away from town, and you could follow all these weird smaller blights, right? And where the center of the blights are, this infestation is at this tower.
Right.
So it's been creating all this stuff, maybe getting too close to civilized towns, and then the call goes out for adventurers, help us, help us. These weird blight things are killing our crops, and they're eating our children. And
no, that's great. That's perfect.
The Chris is asking about the table. So we're mostly using the Tome of Adventure Design by Matt Finch.
Right. Yeah. That's directly out of the Tome of Adventure Design. It's the new one that was just kickstarted.
Yeah.
The second or the revised version of it.
So I feel like, this is like a low level adventure. So I feel like, if we're being traditionalists, then we should have some humanoids. I'm going to keep pushing that. So maybe in that empty room, maybe there's some is there a humanoid table, like a low-level humanoid table?
Well, you could always have ye old adventuring party
or an adventuring party that's like trapped or stuck, or
and maybe have turned undead if you want to go that way, right? Unless you want, if you want one they can talk to, then you could do some kind of adventuring party.
It could be connected to Reynoldus. Right? Reynoldus he was part of a party. Maybe some of the other party members are holed up, and let's call this. If this is kind of a kitchen area, we can have this be a bedroom.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Servants' quarters.
Servants' quarters. Yeah. Well, this seems like such a small place. What do you think? I guess if any sorcerer worth his salt would have servants, right?
Yeah,
of course.
So for Carl's humanoids, do we want to do it or do we want to roll to see what they are?
Oh, let's roll.
Okay. Well, so as always,
we also need a name for that tree blight thing. Do we come? Does anyone have a tree
a tree name generator?
Vegetable blight monster naming table?
Okay, I will check that under the fantasy names.
There we go.
Let's see what we got.
Fantasy name generator, plant names.
Is there a monster generator? It seems like there could be.
It feels like there should be.
Yeah.
Other names, pop culture. Let's see. Real names, places and locations, other names. Let me see if there's a plant name.
Which book did that slime naming one come from? Was that from the Tome of Adventure Design?
Yeah, that was. Yeah.
Do they not have another?
They may. Name? Like I say, the problem here is I'm trying to use the PDF.
Here's a computer virus name generator. Let's see if that gives us something.
Oh.
Right?
Yep. Yeah, go for it.
Let me try again because these are all terrible names.
So funny.
Red Caps mentions Word and Wild for wildlife. My book is sitting on the other side of my computer.
Oh, that's a good idea. Word and Wild. I have mine. I got mine. Let me pull that up. That's a good idea.
Yep.
I just had it open, so let me just see if I can get it again. So while we're doing that, we'll sing a song in between to keep the party.
Right. Well, or roll.
Well, just keep moving with the. Well, I'm sorry. Roll what, Jason?
Yeah. Well, these are all percentile tables, so.
Okay. Go ahead. All right. Okay.
Kind of humanoids we have.
67.
So roll once on table 2-2. Make the result biped with arms and opposable thumbs. So roll another one.
Okay. 64.
Okay, this is a drum roll. It's a biped peacock with opposable thumbs.
Yes. Okay, I like this.
It says it has a peacock body form. It lays eggs, has respondent tail plumage, and it sounds like a cat.
That is amazing.
We should keep that. Let me write a note about it. We'll put that somewhere. Did that have a name?
I don't think that's the humanoid Carl was looking for.
No. But that could be.
I like it. We'll find somewhere to.
This reminds me very much of like Tower of the Elephant, right? Except in reverse. Yeah. But maybe the peacock monster could have been.
Oh, definitely.
Part of the initial like it could be like a very long-lived, peacock monster.
Peacock. It can definitely be on one of these lower levels. So what was the stuff about the peacock monster? Read me off the details again.
Oh, it's the shape of a peacock, but it's it's obviously bipedal. It has opposable thumbs. It sounds like a cat.
but obviously it has hands.
Yeah, it has hands.
All right, well,
Hands if it has thumbs. Yeah.
I love Carl's idea that it's some kind of really intelligent ancient creature that's come through the plains, or maybe was captured when they built this.
yes,
yeah, I was
trapped
thinking
and
about that.
captured.
If there's one of these that maybe has some kind of gate or something, you can think about maybe the peacock monsters on the other side.
Yeah, that's great.
So I'll just put this down here for reference. All right.
Last grasp, or Jack Hole said last gasp willow. How about last grasp willow? Since we're having the grasping chowder.
Oh, the name of the
that
tree.
would
That's
work.
a good one.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
works.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Willow
Weird
light
Wild
has
has
the last grasp.
Willow.
So Weird Wild has a bunch of plant life, but it's all their monsters. I like doing our own. So we can steal a name, but they're not.
Yeah, last grass willow works good. Thank you, chat. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you,
Jack Hole.
Yeah.
Yep, that's perfect.
Oh, Frederick Ork mentions petty gods. I have petty gods, but it's in
Petty
another
God's
room.
also pretty good. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Frederick,
So I
where
guess
were you when we were planning this out? And that's when I needed the ideas. Too late for me.
All right. So sorry, Jack. Well, looking stuff up. I wasn't
servants
paying attention
quarters.
fully.
We still need servants quarters.
We need
What's
servants.
in the-
quarters.
a
what's in there?
humanoid in there.
I can
guess
roll.
we have
So I have
choices.
some furniture. I have some. All
Go for it. Yeah.
right. So who's
Give the
got some dice?
I got some. What do you
Daniel's
need?
designated die roller.
Just give me a couple of d10s.
Okay, we got 7 and 6.
7 is a bookshelf, and 6 are some cabinets. All right, that works.
Oh, nice.
And then
Makes sense.
give me another. Give me a d20.
Okay. 10.
And it's got some. Oh, interesting. Some slushy snow has been dragged in. We'll call it some slushy like water substance.
Yeah.
because that
makes
sense.
fits in with the thematics more than.
Yeah.
snow.
So
So
whatever
this is-
creatures are in here are probably like they're breaking this stuff up because they want to burn or fight the blight thing. So we got to
Yeah.
decide if they're NPCs, like they were coming to rescue like you, Sir Ronaldus, or if they're
I imagine maybe Sir Ronaldus. Maybe he was humble but also a coward, and so he made a break for the stairs and made it out as far as the pond.
Wow.
Right. So I wonder if
Uh,
actually, you know what would be neat? Where it's going away from the tables a little bit, but so if down in here you have what was an adventuring party or was somebody with noble ideas that's now been trapped down here long enough. You have somebody that's gone insane, and an insane
I think I
adventure
have
type, maybe slightly mutated. I mean,
I want to say that the basic book has a adventuring party generator. I think if not,
Yeah, it does. It does
yeah.
for sure.
yeah, it does.
Let me see if I
Definitely.
can-
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could do an adventuring party. I was thinking too that Expert has the I know it's for outdoors, but it's got humanoids.
Oh yeah, I
You know,
can go,
as-
you wanna
as
go
a-
humanoids. I can do that.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
if you want
do-
humanoids in the
yeah,
room to see what kind it is.
Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Let me get to that table. I've got.
Yeah, I guess depending on the rule system, it could be, it could be humanoids with levels, right?
That's true.
It could be Wolfen, right?
Hold on a minute.
Yeah, so appropriate humanoids. Let me see if I can find it.
I've got it. I'll have it in just
Suitable.
1 second.
There we go. Where would this be though? Clear grasslands, woods, river, or swamp? Oh, also mountains,
we got
desert,
city
city,
inhabited. What
jungle.
is city inhabited?
City inhabited. Okay.
Or mountains.
I'll roll d12.
Yep, D12.
12 I rolled, which is
Right.
sprites.
It's probably like pixies and sprites. Probably the two that don't make sense because they could just fly.
All right, so we
out
will
of
roll again.
there. Roll a
6.
D10. 6.
Oh, a
Six.
d10. Okay, well, I rolled a 6.
No, it's like
Goblins.
All right.
Classic.
That's fine.
Classic.
Yep.
So does that make Reynolds the Humble also a goblin?
Oh, if you're playing in Pathfinder, that he might be.
Yeah.
Right, because
I mean,
goblins
as an
are a
NPC,
standard
could
race.
be, you could be whatever. Or the other thing would be is whether we have like multiple factions that were
I like that.
fighting over here, whereas maybe Reynolds the Humble was a human or some other. Actually, just here, we'll let the dice aside. Give us another D10 roll.
Oh yeah, I
Okay.
like that. We talked about factions in our
4.
mega dungeon.
4. So what's 4 is a gnome.
Oh, he's a gnome. Interesting.
Yep. So he-
Perfect.
great.
Gnomes
Camp
versus
and
goblins. Gnomes
Yeah.
versus goblins. I love it.
and maybe he's the last survivor of a.
Yeah. Yeah. So now he's an insane, maybe slightly mutated gnome.
Who, in Ronaldus or the other adventuring party we found the rest of the
The-
adventuring party?
Well, the other adventure is goblins. We have goblins
Uh-huh.
down in the dungeon itself, and then Reynoldus, who maybe found himself in that spot because his party came down, fought with the goblins. That means we should probably put some gnome corpses or something somewhere, maybe in that room,
Mm-hmm.
or out in the courtyard,
on the stairs or somewhere. Should we put it somewhere in the stairs, maybe?
Or even in the even like they're sleeping in the blight, in the roots of the blight.
Oh, they could be in this other room.
Oh yeah, maybe the goblins threw them in there, hoping to.
And they're in the grasp of the willow.
Nice.
Yeah, because maybe the goblins now worship the tree as a god, and they're sending the gnomes in there as a sacrifice.
I like that.
Yeah.
You could have bands of wandering goblins, like in your wider, mountain valley or wherever we're talking about. Bands of goblins that are trying to capture people too. If you want some more expansion or excitement between the town that they start or the starting point to the location, that could be kind of cool.
Certainly creepy. And the red cap says gnomes caught in a makeshift trap that the goblins made. But I like it in the tree. The tree's good because it reinforces kind of the dangers of this tree, and that it's not just some roots hanging down.
Right.
Explore at your peril.
Cool.
All right. So I think that's the first floor.
Yeah. Why don't we move down?
Move down to the next.
Now here's the tough one. So this was the normal.
From here. Yeah.
Goblins and some roots of this tree that continues going down. I think that's that goes down in the ground, and then now we come out to the one. This is the first one we got to pick a plane, right? Because these are the ones that are supposed to have planar themes.
Well, do we have this floor? We have 2 more floors. Is that right?
We have 2 more floors. I mean, I imagine. So we're already 53 minutes. So I imagine we're not going to get through both. So we have a choice. So here's our choices before us. And I don't mind going over a little bit, but I'm cognizant. I want to be sure everyone's got time to do things to do today. Should we go over the basics of what these 2 floors are about, or do you want to go
maybe
and
themes?
try to do a couple of rooms? So we need the planar themes. We know that there's going to be some performance artwork on both of these.
Yeah, and we know we want the extra planar peacock cat humanoid monster.
Right. So one of them's got to be a plane that the peacock would live on. So that's got to be like the Feywild or something.
That works.
I feel like peacocks are Fey.
Yeah, I would go with that.
Or like maybe in the lowest demons. Level, maybe in the lowest level where there's like this, right? Because this willow thing is probably an amalgamation of like some mix up of the plane of ooze and the Feywild, right? Plants and oozes. It seems like something whoever did this or whatever accident happened must have done, perverted those 2 planes and melded them together in a very dangerous way. So maybe down at the bottom it's more like plants and that type of thing, and perhaps a peacock creature is trying to stop or do something to affect.
So maybe you want to.
Well, let's roll. Why don't we roll percentile die to see what the normal purpose of this peacock is? The normal purpose of the summoning monster, to see if it's.
But we got to have other things too, right?
Oh, you got a purpose for the monster? Okay. What's the percentile?
Yep.
All right. 11.
11. So normally it builds structures, usually strongholds. So maybe they capture the peacock to help build this whole complex.
It was captured to do that. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So it builds,
which goes with Carl's, pulling off a Howard. So that makes sense.
So so here's the thing: is this a creation or is this a naturally occurring creature? Is this something like a homunculus that was made?
No, I think it was from another plane.
I think it's from a naturally occurring creature. I like that more because then, I feel like players have been like, "Oh, what plane are you from? I want to make I want to make a player character like you."
So are we gonna? So that seems very kind of fey, weird sort of fairyland monster. So I feel that. So do we want to make, if this is kind of the, I don't know.
So we got to go back to the pixies. We got to go back to the pixies and sprites.
I think goblins work well with the fey also. I just feel like they're going to be trapped there. It just makes it kind of weird. Or we'd have to figure out like how did these things are tiny and fly, not just fly away.
True. Well, you could do like the ones that don't fly, like Griggs, right, or something like that. Right, you could do.
Some of those, like that. So do we want to make the? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, but it's also great too because gnomes in certain I know in like Pathfinder and in at least Kobold Press's Midgard, they're associated more with like extraplanar So they're that they're associated with the Feywild or something.
I mean, look,
It's great.
Reynolds could have come to try to find the peacock monster. I mean, that might have been his party's goal.
Oh,
Right.
Maybe they wanted it for their own. I mean, gnomes are all about tinkering and building stuff anyway, right? So if this thing builds stuff, maybe it makes sense that the gnome was trying to find it. Maybe they got in word somehow.
yeah.
We never got a name for the peacock monster, though, did we?
So when are we going to publish this adventure? No,
I'm down for doing it. I just don't. Yeah, we got to flesh. I mean, I did pick one of these that is commercial. This is one of his Dyson logos. Hey, you can use this commercially. So we do have that option.
Well, it could be a zine.
It could be a zine.
Yeah. Okay, so we got this stuff we see. So should we make the Fey one the bottom floor if that's where kind of the
and then the third floor is like the mixing, right? There's the floor where things are they're battling it out. So oozes.
So but what so we want to keep water? Is that we want to keep Fey of the plane of water and the
on the
third
Fey,
or do we like the idea on this floor here?
I thought is it really ooze? Is it really water? Or is it ooze? I mean,
I'm just going with the kind of more classic planes. Isn't there?
We
want to do. So we can do plane of ooze. That's fine too. Or like isn't it like a demi plane or something?
Yeah, it's a demi plane. Yeah, demi.
I'm just going by the.
Or even right. I mean, if you want it to be, I guess, classic AD&D, right? The Jubilex's abyssal plane is coming into the world, right?
Oh, right. Is he kind of oozy? I like that. Definitely, it's abyssal plane, which because then you get that kind of nice, devilly sort of nasty stuff. So then there's clear cut. At least law versus chaos or good versus evil. For players who like that, who get into. So if the peacock monster is the ultimate, I don't know, almost like could be the ultimate sort of thing to either capture, fight, whatever. That's kind of the thing going on here.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's still working. Maybe part of the danger was this thing is the peacock is still active, which is nice because it gives you that kind of thing about with like that kind of dungeon/mega dungeon thing of new parts opening up.
Mm-hmm.
That maybe the peacock is he can't go for whatever reason it's trapped. Maybe there's some magic spell, something that's keeping it from glyphs of warding or something, keeping it from going up. So it's continually making new stuff going down.
Oh yeah,
I like that a lot.
Oh yeah. Fact, then it could be revisited, right? It could be revisited.
It could be revisited,
whether it enters into the Feywild or actual digging deeper.
Mm-hmm.
So now the question is, what's on the who are the main players on the abyssal plane? What are some good? Do we need we need to roll on some more tables here?
I don't know if like low level. I've always loved introducing. If you're gonna have a planar themed campaign, I love always introducing demons and devils early, right? So then you can these like low level like Dretch or something. I think is what.
Mm-hmm.
A low level demon.
Well, we could,
or oozy demon mains, ooze themed mains type of demon, right? Right, it is low level, right? So
since we're doing a lot of stuff, we're doing custom monsters here. It seems like for the most part, I clicked on this dungeon thing and I got a 4-legged pale gremlins stinking of dirt.
Oh,
that feels very demonish. Yeah,
that's perfect.
Oh yeah, we got the
pale
insect
gremlins.
Theme. Yeah, we got the insect theme, which it totally. I mean, it could even, and we can even make it, the demonic abyssal theme kind of vague too. It could be oozy Jubilex, or it could be fungi, that demon, use Mate or whatever.
All right, so we got to get some names and some. Are there any? Does that journey also like that we got before? Kind of powers, abilities, if any, and name.
I don't have any of that. I just have this is four orgs.
Oh, but we could. I mean, if we're keeping with,
if you want their attributes, I mean, you could. Yeah. I've got tables. We could.
All right, what you got for demons?
Go for that. Roll dynamic attributes. Roll D100.
Okay, we got 52.
Okay, 52. They have long tails of stingers.
Oh, nice. Beautiful.
And if you want,
and 90.
The stinking
90. There we go.
Of dirt.
Do they have arms, Daniel?
They have 4 legs. So
so roll that again. That's unusually long arms, but let's roll it again.
Okay. 8.
8. There we go. My mouse works. Body appears scorched or damaged. There you go.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So there, which isn't necessarily I mean, they're hurt, just they're what they look
Yeah,
like.
their
Right,
body
they look
is-
that way.
Yeah.
So, did it say anything about what the stingers do, or do we roll that separately? Or what's
Oh,
the
we
deal
could
with
roll
this?
that separately.
All right.
I'll have to find the right table to do it.
Inject
It'll
with
be,
something.
yeah. It'd be D100.
53.
Okay. And then keep talking about other things while I find the right table. On
Let's
the,
see what it does.
Is that
So is
the
that the
same
only?
book
Is that
that's
going to
got
be
the
the only
name?
thing? There's multiple. Do we want to have any traps?
Well, that's just one creature that's down there. We could have a
Yeah,
group
we're
of
just
them. We
looking
could
at
have.
kinda
well,
like,
here we go. Roll high or low, Carl.
High.
Okay, Daniel.
You know what?
Roll
You know
die.
what? Let's put some sprites can be down there that are fighting with the abyssal gremlins.
Yeah. I like
Nice. 4, Jason.
Okay, so this will be non-lethal. So roll D100. We'll see the effects of the poison from the stinger.
43.
It is short-term confusion,
Oh,
which is it makes sense for demon. I mean that's a good thing. So
that. Mhm.
okay. So
right, and what about a name? You get some nice demonic names going there.
I don't.
Oh,
have
let's
it.
see. We got demonic names. Let's see.
I think Daniel has that online.
Yeah, I'm getting this one. Let's see if I got demonic. They must have demonic names.
It's interesting. Napalm folk.
Names. Here we go. Oh yeah, you're gonna make me pronounce this. Here we go. Izgozin. That's the only one I can pronounce. Izgozin.
I think it's Gazan.
Izgozin.
This could be great when when the player, if depending on the game you play, if the player is using their player knowledge.
What is it? IG.
It's IZGOZIN.
Oh, IZ. Johnson. All right, actually,
That's a very confusing name to say, so it makes sense if it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It works out.
you can say it backwards.
So these, so what do we decide? These things
These
are on
are
the third level,
the-
trying to get to the fourth level, and you've got the Fae trying to keep them out.
I mean, I don't even know if they're trying to get there. We can even. I mean, we're already at the hour.
Yeah, we're
but,
at time.
yeah.
But, yeah.
It could be something like just because they got summoned here, that they're trapped,
Mhm.
that they're whatever they're fighting. Maybe these Izgazin, they're related to the willow.
Mhm.
There's some of these,
Mhm.
things that are here.
Yeah, there's like an insecty theme going on with that.
Yeah.
And maybe the peacock monster, somebody else summons sprites, something down here is bringing
Right,
in
to
the
defend
sprites.
themselves. Yeah.
Mhm.
So you have these kind of almost like you have these two kind of competing, like almost like kind of cracks in the planar walls that are leaching in.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
These
It's like the
different
peacock
critters.
is trying to build while the demons are trying to destroy at the same time.
Yeah. Which makes
Yeah,
it
so
really
you're
cool.
law versus chaos. I love it.
Bam.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we didn't get through everything, but who?
No, but you
I
could.
think we got a lot farther.
You
than
could fill
we
out.
thought.
There's a lot of things you could fill out with.
Yeah.
If you want to reference, I would say if you want to reference the either the priesthood or the sorcerer cabal that used to live here. It looks like
Mhm.
there's an area for like a tomb, perhaps. Perhaps that's what happened. Is the man or woman in charge passed away, and that's what kind of broke everything or caused everything to be broken. I see some tombs, so you could throw in some undead or some haunts or whatever that harken to that what was there before, as well as the performance art. I think that would be pretty cool. But that would
Yeah,
leave it. That would
totally.
be for us filling it out if we decide to make a zine, or the your viewers to grab this and run with it. With the
Yeah,
output
I
we've given them.
think the big takeaway, right, is I mean, granted, we got to have the ingenuity and the brilliance of four amazing minds, but we just or just us, and then we just riffed with some tables sources we have for
which is
about
great.
an hour, and we came up with a really good shell. Sure, there's still things we didn't. There's still rooms we need to fill in and things like that. But I thought we came up with a really lot of good stuff, and that's kind of all it takes, basically.
Yeah.
Some time, some
a
patience,
neat
some
exercise.
tables. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks everybody. You guys have anything you want to pitch or send links to? I'll send me all the links in Discord. If you want to drop them in the chat, you can as well. I'll update the show notes with everyone's links. Anything you guys want to mention? Daniel, you have anything coming up on Bandits Keep you want to pitch?
No, I mean, stop by and say hi, I guess, in the Discord. That's the only thing I'm pitching. That's my latest pitch.
There you go.
Yeah, for me, the Geomologist Presents, inspired by Jason Connerly in one of his segments. I'm trying to look at a new way to do unboxing. So I'm going to start doing mini reviews. So instead of a giant amount of unboxings, an unboxing coupled with a mini review. And I started doing that recently with looking at Cobalt Press's zine, Warlock, and I did Warlock 35, which is some really neat things on priests and priesthood that you can use. So check out the Geomologist Presents.
Awesome. Jason, you want to throw anything out there?
Well, I mentioned before, Cerebrivore, the panel podcast, that our discussion, we had a discussion, folks, before this started, and you'll be able to hear that Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern time. And Todd will put the links up for that, for Cerebrivore, the YouTube channel, and the podcast. And then I've got a little podcast, Nerds RPG Variety Cast. So
awesome. Well, guys, it was amazing. It was a lot of fun. Hopefully we'll have to figure out what we can do with this, because I think it's too good to just let drop as kind of a stream, but we'll have to figure out.
I love the peacock cat monster.
I know, and we didn't even really get into that level yet. So there's definitely more meat on the bone. Thanks everybody for hanging out. If you could give a thumbs up, that'd be awesome. If you found yourself in here and you think this stuff is great, this is kind of what I do, mostly by myself, but sometimes with guests every day. So if you want to subscribe, that's also awesome. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day, night, whenever you end up watching or listening to this. Game on, everybody.
That's so neat how you have this after this thing screen.